all these light production boats that all talk about the island piglets can't move. Well, we're sliding right by him because we got the big old kite up. Hello, well, and welcome to SV Paquita. We are finally back sailing. The engine is off, we are in the water, and as of the moment, we are not sinking. We've had the boat now for 4 years, and we just finished our first big refit. And I don't think it's very different from other people's refits in that once you put the boat on the hard for a long time and you put it back in the water, it takes a while to get everything back working again. So that's kind of where we are now. But as I showed you in another video, we've got the arch up, dinghies up here. The motor's off, and that's not because we can't run with it that way. It's because we wanted to get underway yesterday or last night, and right after Hurricane Debbie came by. Oh, let me kill the music. God, I hope I didn't do that too late. I'm gonna get flagged by the YouTube pirates out there saying that I'm stealing their music. Didn't mean to do that, sorry. Anyway, yeah, we want the remnants of Debbie came up through here, and then when we got ready to go, our outboard, I was running in to pick up from the mooring to pick up Chrysalida, and lo and behold, I'm up on a plane, and the thing just dies. I mean, I thought that something went wrong with the neutral safety switch, or the the thing that the safety lanyard that you pull it out and it just dies, because it died like that. It didn't like run out of fuel, like sputter and cough and that sort of stuff. Anyway, working the problem backwards and forwards and eliminating one thing to another. Finally, my buddy, a friend of mine from years ago who actually got me into tugboating, Bud, him and his girlfriend, Dawn, came up, and he was a mechanic, a diesel mechanic by trade, but he's always my go-to guy for when there's issues with anything mechanical. And he has this unwavering optimism where he just goes, oh yeah, let's take a look at it. So you ever done this before? No, never done it before. And it just doesn't bother him at all. Anyway, turns out the outboard is electronically fuel injected, and it's got a high pressure pump that puts fuel to the fuel rail. And it kind of seemed, because he did something that, if you guys are in this situation and you're diagnosing stuff, in order to make sure that we had spark and that the thing would run and that there wasn't because I had gone through and checked both the neutral safety lockout switch, like if it's in gear or not. If that was a problem, I also checked the safety lanyard switch. Both of those were reading fine. And he did something that was pretty clever. He got a napkin, put it in the gasoline, lifted up the air sensor that pops into the air cleaner, and dripped a little bit of gas in there, fired, spun it over, and it fired right up. So he knew that everything was working, but it wasn't getting gas. And because the computer controlled that, I was worried that it was going to be a gas problem. But it wasn't. We did some research. We found out to look at this thing. We took it apart, and it was loaded with all kinds of stuff. And so the good news is that this morning he came back with some carb cleaner and a couple Torx bits. We ripped it all apart. I put it up here so that we wouldn't have to do it on the mooring while it's rolling around. I went into the gas dock, and they let me stay there and turn the stern of the tug right in so that we could get in there and work on it from the dock. And we did, and we got it going, and it's going. So I don't know how much more crap is in the line, so I might have to do it again, but I feel wonderful that we got it going. It's running again, and if it dies, I'll know what's wrong with it and how to fix it. But the beautiful Chrysalida is here, and she's so happy that we're finally sailing again. We came out and we were moving right along, but I wanted to get the engine off. And if you look over here, we've got 6 knots of 7.8 knots, 7.7 knots of true wind speed, 6 knots apparent, and we're making a whopping 2.9 knots. So we are just moving along. And you know what? We have until to get to the fair tide in Cape Cod, at the Cape Cod Canal. We don't really have to get to the railroad bridge anytime before 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. So we'll see how this all plays out, but I think we're going to have plenty of time, and I think I'm going to get some more. I think the wind's supposed to pick up here in a little bit, so we'll see how that plays out. But the plan is to leave here and go up to Cape Cod, go to Provincetown. Got a line out in the water. There we are. You can see the wind decks up there with just a little bit of wind there, kind of robbing half of it. I really should have my main out a little bit more, but when I do that, it robs too much from the head sail. And we're moving, and we don't really have anywhere to go. And I thought there'd be a big heave in here. Here's the Rhode Island coast right here. This is Watch Hill in the background, and Musquamacut and all that loveliness over there. And I thought there'd be a big heave, and it's not so bad at all. So it's beautiful. We're just going to cruise like this and cruise through the night and hopefully get a fair tide in the morning and then up to P-Town then. But boat it feels so good to be out here. We topped her up with fuel, topped her off with water. So to the guy that I'm telling this story about, man, I'm not trying to dox you or anything like that, and as I told you before, it was just a love tap, so it's all fine. But I did think it was funny. Somebody had written to me and said, hey, I have a boat right next to where you keep your boat. And I said, well, feel free to come on over and say hi. So Crystalita and I were adjusting the different leads, the different things that hold the you have to make attachment points on the dinghy, and you have to get it. If they're too short, it wobbles around. If it's too high, you can't get it up high enough. So I'm messing with the Dyneema before we splice in the Dyneema and put in the thimbles and all that sort of stuff. And this guy pulls up in a catch, and he's like, hey, I watch your channel. And I said, oh, thank you so much. And it was kind of funny because he said, yeah, it's kind of like watching paint dry, but I like your channel. And I was like, well, that's an interesting thing to say, but thank you. And then while he was saying this, he went and crashed into our boat while we're at the mooring. And so Crystalita's 10 coats of all wood varnish is we now get to check when we bought this $1 million. Ooh, look at this wake coming over here. This is a good one here. We're only doing barely 3 knots, so we gotta feel this when it comes. Anyway, we bought this $1 million all grip, all wood. She put 10 coats on there with the idea that it's repairable. And so now we have an awesome opportunity to try out to see not only can it be repaired, but also Crystalita's skills have improved so much doing all this bright work. Now she can figure out how to repair it. So everything's good. And sorry, man, I forgot your name. I really do appreciate that you came over, and that you ran into us was just makes it more funny. There we are, we're crashing through that wake now. See all the sails not liking it, but Paquita's fine. Anyway, yeah, any of you guys see us around, stop by and say hi. It's better when you don't run into us, but when you do, it makes for a great story. And if you don't think that that's funny, then probably won't like anything else I do. So it was awesome. Gladly take a little love tap like that in exchange for a wonderful story. Anyway, that's it for now. Well, look, there's that weight going away. See it over there? Anyway, we're going to carry on. Look at this beautiful teak work, bright work that Crystalita did. I'm so proud of her. Looks like $1 million. All right, so hopefully something will bite our line. Probably won't, but having fun with it anyway. And we're gonna enjoy things. It's almost champagne sailing. All right, talk to you later. Okay, see this guy right here? He, like many other boats, sailing along. You got just went from about 8 knots up to about 11 knots behind us, or just on the port quarter. If you were looking at a clock, maybe it would be around 7 o'clock, something like that, the wind coming up behind us. Anyway, he, like everybody, all these light production boats that all talk about the island piglets can't move. Well, we're sliding right by him because we got the big old kite up. That's right. Chrysalida and I are getting a little bit better. I think we would have launched this thing much better had we put it away. The last time we used it, we put it away in a hurry, I think, because when I went to go launch it, it was all twisted up and all that. But it took us a little bit of doing, but we got it out, and oh, I'm really happy with it. So some of you salty sailors over there, maybe you can help me out. I do something that my buddy Runa says is, Runa says everything is okay, but he also says it's unconventional. Normally we would take the asymmetrical, or you know, the spinnaker sheet, and bring it back to a block back here and then up to the winches. But I just run it right through my regular, you know, I pull out my regular Genoa sheet and pass this through over here, and yeah, it doesn't get out as far, but I don't think that's really a big issue, especially with a wind like this. So if you guys know why I shouldn't be doing this, or will it, the blocks that I want to put back here are about $199 a piece, you know, because I want them to have them so they're set there and put a snatch on it. Anyway, so that's a lot of money to invest in something that right now this is working relatively well for us. So if you guys know a reason why I shouldn't be doing this, please let me know. Remember, you know, I've spent my career on the water, but I am not a sailor. I'm learning. So if you guys know something better than I do, please put it in the comments, let me know. And other than that, oh, life is good. Now, if I've talked about this new addition, I used to have, when I had my house in Puerto Rico, I had a big green egg, extra large one. And I loved grilling, and I was all in with the big green egg cult. Well, then when my parents moved out of my grandmother's house in Puerto Rico and I started spending time down there, I couldn't get a big green egg down there, and because they weigh so much, it didn't make sense to mail one down there. So I did something I was so embarrassed about. I left the big green egg camp and went for the, what I assume is a Chinese knockoff, and got one for about a quarter of the price. You know what? As much as I want to tell you, oh, it's nothing like the original, I think it was the same. Well, anyway, I've always wanted a big green egg, or, you know, I wanted a Kamado style grill on the boat. And this boat had a propane grill, and I have a real problem. I don't have a problem cooking with propane because there's a line, and the tank is vented outside, so if the tank leaks, the propane goes out. There's a sniffer down below, but a lot of people will put like their propane and propane tanks in their lazarette, and they'll rust away, and as soon as that rust gets through and the integrity of the tank goes, or the valve gets messed up and it starts filling the bottom up with propane, that's a situation I don't want to be in. Not to mention, I really love how Kamados work. And you say, well, now you got to lug charcoal around with me. Yeah, well, the charcoal's probably not going to explode. Anyway, it has a lot of metal around here. There's a spring and there's a whole bunch of stuff like that. So I didn't want to get, the Big Green Egg has a 13-inch grill like this, and it's a crazy amount of money. And I can't see it because I think that, you know, within a week or so, all of this iron is going to start rusting right off of the thing, and it probably, before that happens, I'll get mad because it'll be running rust down the side of the boat. So in order to deal with that, I found this one online for $150, and I said, you know what, I could try it out. If I cook and I love it and the size isn't too small, and Chrysalida likes it, and her being mostly a pescatarian, she eats some meat, but we prefer not to. So it turns out if we don't use it, it doesn't make sense spending any money. But if we do use it and it's wonderful, then maybe I'll just take it off and bring it to some fabricator and have them replace all this with aluminum. And I've cooked a few meals and it's been wonderful so far. I love these things. I don't know if you're familiar with them or not, but if you're not into grilling, then it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But anyway, everything else is going good. let's see, what else do I got to tell you? Well, you can see we're doing 5.3 there, 5.29, 5.0 now, with 6.1 knots of apparent. So it's blowing 10.3 behind us, 6.1 of apparent, and I'm getting 5 knots out of it, out of an island piglet. Oh, those boats are so slow, they can't do anything. I don't know, man. Remember that guy? He was way out in front of us. Now we're starting to pass him. Now, granted, you're going to say, oh, it's not about the hull. You have a lot more sail up. Well, at the end of the day, I'm going faster. Anyway, like I say, you guys, thank you so much for watching. And if you don't think for a second that I don't appreciate any of your tips and advice. The ones that bother me or the ones that get to me are the guys that have never had a boat, or they've had a boat 30 years ago and they're telling me about the good old days and why we don't need GPS because they didn't have it, and why we don't need this and we don't need that. And I'm like, times have changed, you know. But if you're a current sailor, or if you have something that you can pass along to me, I will gladly pass it along to the rest of you guys. I am not ashamed to let everyone know that I am learning, and I encourage you to learn with me. And that's it. Well, we got the line out, but we are not fishing, or we are not catching. We are fishing. We're not catching. So we're hoping that maybe something as we come through Buzzards Bay, we'll catch something here. But just went by Seconic Point, and we're headed in. And oh, you know what? That's what I wanted to tell you. So last night we were gonna go all through the night and get through the canal on the fair tide this morning, which is right about now, or about an hour ago. And I started thinking about it. We're not in a race. I'm not at work. And in a couple days, I mean, there's hardly any wind now anyway, and in a couple days the wind's going to get less and less and less. And so because of that, when we go up to the Gulf of Maine right now, we might have to motor the whole way, because it looks like the wind is just going to be light and variable the whole time. But I don't know. The longer we wait, it could go one way or the other. We'll find out. But I thought to myself, why would I be spending all night? And I'm not saying that Cristalita can't stand a watch, and she stands a watch all the time, but I usually set up the AIS alarms, and it's a Doppler radar. So when it's working, it's always worked. But since this winter, it's not connecting onto the network. So I think there's a network cable that has to be plugged in and maybe replaced or something like that. But I have to figure that out. But it involves climbing the mast, and if you know anything about New London, you'll know that that's far too rolly in Anchorage for me to climb the mast. So I'm hoping to do that in some sheltered bay somewhere. But anyway, yeah, when Cristalita does it, because it's a Doppler radar, I could tell her if she sees anything red on the plotter, on the radar, you know, because I have the radar overlaying the plotter. So if you see anything red on there, wake me up. If you see anything green, don't worry about it. And that's because the Doppler will, if you're having a target that's closing with you, it'll turn red, and if it's going away from you, it'll turn green. Then we have ours like turning yellow if it's just like a stationary thing, or off green or something like that. Anyway, since that's not working, and since I didn't think it was a real good idea for me to stay up all night long and then steer through the canal, I said, you know what, we don't need to do this. So we pulled in last night to Point Judith, anchored up behind the wall. That's what we would call it, but I think everyone else calls it the Harbor of Refuge. And had a wonderful night there. It was beautiful. And I was going to get up at 3 in the morning and still head for the canal. And Cristalina and I finished our dinner, and I'm like, it doesn't make sense. We got plenty of time, so let's just have a good night's sleep, and we'll head up to Buzzards Bay and drop the hook up here, up off of Falmouth, around that area, and then catch the fair tide tomorrow morning and head to P-Town then. So that's the plan. Anyway, that's it for now. Well, I thought I'd leave you with a little downwind sailing with the spinnaker up, asymmetrical, and yeah, if you guys want to click out now, that's fine. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Those of you that watch both of my channels might know that I've had kind of a shake up on the other channel. Just as I hit 70,000 subscribers, we had a little policy change at work that is going to determine a little change in direction of how we run that channel over there. So I don't know how that'll do. Who knows? Maybe it'll be on to better things and still continue to take off. But this channel we have the full control over. So I'm really going to start pouring more and more attention over here. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Please help me get this channel to grow a little bit more. Really appreciate you guys and giving it a like and a thumbs up and a subscribe, all those YouTube happy things. And special shout out to my patrons. My new patrons are the people that really kind of provide me tangible proof that people see value in the efforts I put into making these. So if you'd like to join a Patreon for a couple bucks a month, you get ad-free content, early uploads, and private Patreon-only videos. And many of you patrons have come out sailing with me, so who knows, maybe that's something if you want to do, that'd be great too. But anyway, if you don't, that's cool too. Really appreciate you watching. Either way, no pressure. You guys take care, be safe, and I'll see you on the one. Now we'll just let this play out so that you guys don't have to listen to me, but you can just enjoy the sail.
Approximately 70 nautical miles east of Nantucket. Mariners are requested to check their e-curve, keep a sharp lookout, assist if possible, report all sightings to the Coast Guard. Right? United States Coast Guard sector southeastern New England out. from